The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was bigger than most cities. Its walls curved up so high that the top disappeared into shadows. Today, beings from across the galaxy sat in their special seats, waiting for the meeting to begin. The air buzzed with the sounds of different languages as aliens talked to each other. Ambassador Sarah Chen walked into the hall with her team of 5 humans. She wore a simple blue suit and carried a small bag. Her team followed behind her, each one carrying tablets and files. They moved quietly, not making much noise with their steps. Sarah looked around the hall and smiled. She had been to many meetings like this, but the size of this place still amazed her. Hundreds of different alien species sat in rows that went up and up like a giant theater. Some had scales, some had fur, and some looked like they were made of rock. A few glowed with their own light. "Good morning, everyone," Sarah said into her small microphone. Her voice carried across the hall through the translation system. "We brought some refreshments from Earth if anyone would like to try them." Her team opened several containers. The smell of fresh coffee and cookies filled the air near the human section. Some of the aliens made faces at the smell, but a few seemed curious. High Counselor Vexthor sat in the center of the highest row. He was a Zephyrian, which meant he looked like a giant lizard that stood on 2 legs. His scales were dark purple, and his eyes were bright yellow. He was bigger than most humans and liked to make sure everyone knew it. Vexthor looked down at the humans and made a sound that might have been laughing. "How typical," he said to the other council members near him. "They think food will help them now." The Kronak delegate, a being that looked like a walking tree, leaned over to Vexthor. "They are so small and weak. This should not take long." Sarah heard some of the comments through the translation system, but her smile never changed. She set up her papers on the table and waited for the meeting to start. "The council will now hear the terms that have been decided for the human species," Vexthor announced. His voice boomed across the hall. "These terms are final and not open for discussion." Sarah nodded politely. "We are ready to listen, High Counselor." Vexthor stood up, making himself look even bigger. "First, all human expansion into new star systems will stop immediately. No more colonies, no more exploration ships, no more claiming of empty worlds." Sarah wrote something on her tablet. "I see. Please continue." "Second, humans will give up control of 3 of their current colony worlds. These worlds will be given to species that deserve them more." Vexthor's yellow eyes stared down at Sarah. The worlds are New Terra, Hope Station, and Garden Prime. Several humans in Sarah's team looked at each other with worried expressions. These were some of their most important colonies, home to millions of people. But Sarah just kept writing notes. "Third," Vexthor continued, "humans will accept their place as a junior species in this galaxy. You will have limited voting rights in the council and will need permission before making any major decisions." The hall was very quiet now. Even the aliens who had been talking to each other stopped to listen. This was harsher than most species received when they joined the council. Sarah finished writing and looked up. "Thank you for explaining the terms so clearly, High Counselor. May I ask what happens if we need time to discuss these proposals with our government on Earth?" Vexthor made that laughing sound again. "There is nothing to discuss. These are not proposals. These are orders. You have been in this galaxy for less than 50 years. You have no right to make demands." "Of course," Sarah said, still smiling. "We certainly understand that the Council has much more experience than we do. We have always valued the wisdom of older civilizations." Behind her, one of her team members was typing quickly on a small device. The message he sent was very short, just a few numbers and letters, but it went out to every human station, ship, and colony in known space. Sarah stood up and smoothed her suit. "High Counselor, we are honored that the Council has taken the time to consider humanity's future so carefully. Might we have a short break to review these terms? Perhaps 15 minutes? Vexthor waved one of his large hands. "Fine, 15 minutes. But do not think this delay will change anything." As the humans left the hall, Sarah maintained her polite smile and nodded to several alien delegates. "Such a beautiful hall. she said to a floating gas being from the nebula sector. The architecture is amazing. Outside in the corridor, her team gathered around her. Ambassador, one of them whispered, those terms are impossible. They want us to give up everything. Sarah nodded but kept her voice low. I know. But we knew this might happen. Is the message sent? Yes, ma'am. All stations confirmed receipt. Good. Sarah looked back toward the hall. Then we proceed as planned. Remember, we stay polite and friendly no matter what they say. We are guests here. What if they refuse to negotiate? Sarah's smile became a little different, though she still looked pleasant. Then they will learn something new about human politeness. The 15 minutes passed quickly. When they returned to the hall, Sarah carried the same small bag and kept the same calm expression. But across the galaxy, in thousands of human facilities, technicians were quietly beginning their work. When the break ended, Sarah Chen walked back into the great hall with her team. She carried a new folder in her hands and still wore the same pleasant smile. The alien delegates watched her with curious eyes. Some seemed bored, thinking this would be over quickly. High Counselor Vexthor settled back into his large seat. His purple scales caught the light from above. Have you reviewed our terms, Ambassador Chen? We have, High Counselor, Sarah replied. She opened her folder and pulled out several sheets of paper. We have prepared a response for the Council's consideration. Vexthor's yellow eyes narrowed. There is nothing to consider. You accept our terms or face the consequences. Sarah nodded politely. Of course, we understand the Council's position. Completely. However, we would like to share some thoughts from the human people. They have expressed certain concerns about the proposed arrangements. A ripple of what sounded like laughter went through the alien delegates. The Kronak representative made a sound like wind through leaves. The concerns of humans matter very little here. Naturally, Sarah agreed, but we believe the Council values all perspectives, even from newer species like ourselves. She looked down at her papers. The people of Earth and our colonies have asked us to present an alternative arrangement, one that might work better for everyone involved. Vexthor leaned forward in his seat. Speak quickly. The Council's time is valuable. Sarah cleared her throat gently. First, we propose mutual respect between all species in the Council. Humans would like to continue working alongside our galactic neighbors as equals, sharing knowledge and resources as we have been doing. Several aliens made dismissive sounds. A delegate that looked like a giant crystal spoke up. Equals? You have been here for less than 50 years. Some of us have been traveling the stars for thousands of years. Very true, Sarah said with a nod. We have much to learn from your wisdom and experience. That is why we value these relationships so highly. She turned to the next page. Second, we suggest fair trade agreements that benefit all parties. Humans have developed certain technologies and services that have proven useful to many species. We would like to continue providing these services. What services? Asked a floating jellyfish-like being from the outer rim. What could humans possibly offer that we need? Sarah's smile grew a little wider. Well, human engineers have helped design or upgrade the life support systems on over 300 stations across the galaxy. Our computer specialists have written software that runs on most communication networks. Human doctors have shared medical techniques that work on 17 different species types. She paused and looked around the hall. Human technicians maintain the quantum relay systems that allow instant communication between star systems. Our traders have established supply routes that keep goods moving efficiently, and human researchers have helped solve several agricultural problems on worlds with difficult climates. The hall became quieter as Sarah spoke. Some of the aliens were remembering things they had forgotten, like how their communication systems had improved after humans upgraded them, or how their medical centers had become more effective with human help. But Vexthor was not impressed. These are small things, useful perhaps, but not necessary. The galaxy managed fine before humans arrived. Absolutely correct, Sarah agreed. The galaxy has survived for millions of years without human help. We are just grateful that so many species have allowed us to be useful. She turned to her final page. Which brings us to our third point. We hope that all species can continue to work together peacefully. Humans believe that cooperation makes everyone stronger. Cooperation? Vexthor stood up, his full height making him tower over the human section. You speak of cooperation when you are being offered generous terms. Most species that join the council start with much less than what we are giving you. Sarah remained, seated, still looking up at him with polite interest. The council is indeed generous, High Counselor. We appreciate that these terms come from a place of wisdom and experience. Then you accept them? Sarah was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was still friendly, but something in her tone had changed slightly. We have prepared alternative arrangements, just in case diplomatic solutions prove difficult to reach. Alternative arrangements? The crystal delegate's voice rang like a bell. What does that mean? Well, Sarah said, human citizens across the galaxy have expressed strong feelings about these terms. They worry about being separated from their families on the colony worlds. They are concerned about their future in the galactic community. She folded her hands on the table. So they have asked us to be prepared for different possibilities. Vexthor's eyes grew brighter. Are you threatening the council? Oh no, High Counselor, Sarah said quickly. Humans would never threaten anyone. We are a peaceful species. We always prefer to solve problems through talking and cooperation. She smiled again. But our people have asked us to make sure they understand all their options. What options? Demanded the tree-like Kronak. Sarah opened her small bag and pulled out another tablet. Human workers across the galaxy have been discussing what they might do if they feel unwelcome in the galactic community. Some have talked about returning to Earth to be with their families. Others have mentioned taking early retirement from their current jobs. She tapped the tablet screen. We have received many messages from humans who work on space stations, communication hubs, medical centers, and transport systems. They want to know if they should start preparing to leave their posts. The floating jellyfish delegate drifted closer to the human section. Leave their posts? But many systems depend on human workers. Yes, Sarah said with a gentle nod. Human workers have been very dedicated to their jobs. They work long hours and take pride in keeping everything running smoothly. But if they are not welcome, they do not want to stay where they are not wanted. Vexthor was beginning to look less confident. This is manipulation. You are trying to pressure the council. Sarah looked genuinely surprised. High Counselor, we would never try to pressure anyone. We are simply sharing information about how our people are feeling. They have the right to choose where they want to work and live, just like any free beings. She stood up and gathered her papers. We hope that the council might consider our alternative proposal, but we understand if the original terms are final. We just ask for a little time to explain the situation to our people and help them prepare for whatever comes next. The hall was very quiet now. Several alien delegates were whispering to each other in worried tones. A few were already checking their communication devices, probably trying to contact their home worlds. Sarah bowed politely to the council. Thank you for your patience with us today. We know that newer species sometimes need more time to understand how things work in the galaxy. We are grateful for your guidance during this learning process. As the humans prepared to leave, Vexthor called out, How much time do you need? Sarah paused and looked back. We think 24 hours should be enough time for our people to understand the situation and make their personal decisions about their futures. 24 hours, Vexthor repeated. Yes, Sarah said with another polite smile. Just enough time for everyone to prepare for whatever changes may come. The humans left the hall quietly, still maintaining their courteous demeanor. But across the galaxy, on hundreds of worlds and thousands of stations, human workers were already beginning to receive very detailed instructions about something called Courtesy Protocol 7. The first sign of trouble came 6 hours after the humans left the council hall. A cargo ship carrying medical supplies to the Andromedian colonies sent out a routine status report. The message was simple. Experiencing minor technical difficulties. Delivery may be delayed. Captain Zexali of the Andromedian Defense Force read the message on his command screen. He was a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms. This kind of delay happened sometimes, so he was not worried. He sent back a reply asking for more details. The cargo ship captain, a human named Rodriguez, responded quickly. Sorry for the inconvenience, Captain. Our navigation computer is acting strange. The quantum compass keeps giving us different readings. We are trying to fix it, but we might need to stop at the nearest station for repairs. Captain Zexali frowned. This particular ship had never had problems before. Captain Rodriguez was known for keeping his ship in perfect condition. How long for repairs? He sent back. Hard to say. Maybe a few hours, maybe longer. The quantum compass is a very delicate piece of equipment. We want to make sure it is completely safe before we continue. Meanwhile, on the trading station Nexus 7, another problem was developing. The main communication array started having problems during the busy afternoon shift. Messages between different parts of the galaxy began taking longer to send. Some messages failed to send at all. Station Commander Veltar was a practical being who looked like a large crab. She had run Nexus 7 for 12 years and had never seen the communication system act this way. She called the chief technician to her office. What is wrong with the communication array, she asked. The chief technician was a human named Janet Kim. She looked tired and worried. Commander, I am not sure. The system started showing error messages about an hour ago. The quantum relays seem to be losing synchronization with each other. Can you fix it? Janet shook her head slowly. I am trying, but this is very complex. Equipment. The quantum relays were designed by human engineers and the software was written by human programmers. I understand how it works, but some of the deeper technical details are complicated. Commander Veltar's eye stalks twitched, with concern. How long to repair it? I honestly do not know. I might need to contact Earth for technical support. Or maybe bring in specialists from other stations, but many of those specialists are also human, and they might be busy with their own problems right now. Across the galaxy, similar conversations were happening on dozens of worlds and hundreds of stations. On the mining world of Kepler's Rest, the automated ore processing plants stopped working properly. The human supervisor, Mark Chen, stood in the control room looking at screens full of error messages. The main processing computer keeps shutting down, he explained to Mine Director Kothran, a being made of living rock. Every time I restart, it runs for about 20 minutes, then stops again. Is this sabotage? Kothran asked, his voice rumbling like an earthquake. Mark looked genuinely confused. I do not think so, Director. The security systems show no signs of tampering. It looks like a software problem. Maybe something went wrong during the last update. Fix it quickly. We have quotas to meet. Mark nodded. I am trying, but this is specialized software. It was written specifically for this type of mining operation. I might need to contact the original programmers for help, but most of them work for human companies. On the medical station, Hope's Light, Dr. Sarah Okafor was having a very bad day. The hospital's main computer system was acting strange. Patient records were hard to access. Medical scanners were giving inconsistent readings. The automated medicine dispensary kept shutting down. Chief Medical Officer Thisara was a tall, thin being with silver skin. She found Dr. Okafor in the main computer room surrounded by open panels and diagnostic equipment. Doctor, how many more systems will fail today? Thisara asked. Dr. Okafor wiped sweat from her forehead. I do not know. The main medical computer has been having problems for 3 hours now. Every time I fix one thing, something else breaks. This is a disaster. We have patients who need treatment. I know, Dr. Okafor said. I am doing everything I can, but this computer system is very advanced. It was designed by human medical engineers and runs on human-written software. Some of the diagnostic protocols are based on human medical research that was shared with the galactic medical community. Thisara's silver skin began to glow with stress. Are you saying you are the only one who can fix it? Not exactly, but Dr. Okafor paused. Most of the people who really understand this system are humans, and right now I'm getting reports that human medical technicians on other stations are having similar problems. In the council chambers, High Counselor Vexthor was receiving more and more urgent messages. His communication screen showed dozens of alerts from across the galaxy. Trade routes were slowing down. Communication networks were becoming unreliable. Industrial facilities were reporting equipment failures. At first, he thought it was just a coincidence. Technical problems happened sometimes, but as the hours passed, a pattern became clear. Almost every system experiencing problems had been built, upgraded, or maintained by humans. Vexthor called an emergency session of the council's top advisors. They gathered in a smaller room behind the main hall. The crystal delegate's body was flashing with worried lights. The Kronak representative's leaves were turning darker colors. "What is happening out there?" Vexthor demanded. The council's intelligence chief, a floating gas being called Wisp-Tar, spoke first. "The pattern is clear. Systems with human involvement are failing across the galaxy. Trade is slowing down. Communications are becoming unreliable. Some medical facilities are operating on backup equipment." "Is this an attack?" asked the crystal delegate. "We see no evidence of sabotage," Wisp-Tar replied. "All the failures appear to be technical in nature. Equipment malfunctions, software, errors, maintenance problems." Vexthor's yellow eyes were burning brighter. "This cannot be a coincidence. The humans did something." "Perhaps," Wisp-Tar said. "But what? Our scans show no signs of computer viruses, no evidence of tampering, no attacks on our systems. Everything appears to be normal technical problems." "Normal?" The Kronak delegate's voice sounded like wind through a dying forest. "Hundreds of systems failing at the same time is normal?" "No," Wisp-Tar admitted. "It is not normal at all." Vexthor stood up and paced around the room. His large feet made heavy sounds on the floor. "Send a message to the human ambassador. Tell her we want to speak with her immediately." "She is not in the building," Wisp-Tar said. "The humans left several hours ago. They said they needed time to contact their people and explain the council's terms. Find her, now." While the council tried to locate Ambassador Chen, the problems across the galaxy continued to grow. On the space station Deep Watch, the artificial gravity system started fluctuating. The human chief engineer, Tom Bradley, worked frantically to keep it stable. "The gravity generator is overheating," he told Station Commander Crixfall. "I have never seen it do this before." "How long can you keep it working?" Tom shook his head. "I am not sure. This is very advanced human technology. The gravity field equations are extremely complex. If the main generator fails, the backup system might not be enough to keep the station safe." Commander Crixfall felt a chill run through his reptilian body. Deep Watch was home to 15,000 beings from dozens of different species. Without proper artificial gravity, the station would become uninhabitable within hours. "Do whatever you need to do," Crixfall said. "Contact Earth if you have to. Contact anyone." Tom looked up from his diagnostic screen. "I am trying, Commander, but Earth's communication systems seem to be having problems too. I keep getting error messages when I try to send technical support requests." Across the galaxy, the same scene was playing out again and again. Human workers struggling with failing equipment, alien supervisors growing more worried by the hour, and somewhere in the background, the quiet knowledge that all of these systems had been working perfectly just a few hours ago. Ambassador Sarah Chen sat in her small ship in orbit around the council station. She was reading reports from across the galaxy on her personal tablet. Her team sat around her, their faces serious but calm. "How are things progressing?" she asked her communications officer. "According to schedule, Ambassador. All stations have confirmed that Courtesy Protocol 7 is in effect. Human workers are experiencing technical difficulties on schedule." Sarah nodded. "And our people? Are they safe?" "Yes, ma'am. No one is in any real danger. All the failures are designed to be inconvenient but not harmful. Life support systems are stable. No one will be hurt." "Good." Sarah looked out the window at the stars. Send a message to the council. Tell them we are ready to continue our discussion whenever it is convenient for them. 12 hours after the technical problems began, High Counselor Vexthor stood in the council's emergency command center. The room was filled with screens showing reports from across the galaxy. Every screen showed red warning lights and urgent messages. "Show me the current situation," Vexthor ordered. Intelligence Chief Wisptar floated over to the main display. "The problems are spreading faster than we expected. Trade between star systems has dropped by 60%. Communication delays are getting longer. Some remote colonies have lost contact completely." Vexthor stared at the numbers on the screen. "How is this possible? We have backup systems. We have redundancy built into everything." "Yes," Wisptar replied. "But many of those backup systems were also designed or maintained by humans. When the primary systems fail, the backups often have similar problems." On the screen, a new alert appeared. The text was bright red and flashing. "Priority alert. Life support failures reported on mining station Omega-7. Population, 50,000. Backup systems operating at minimum capacity." Vexthor's purple scales darkened with worry. "Get me a direct line to Omega-7. The communication took several minutes to connect. When the signal finally came through, the voice of Station Commander Grixtal sounded stressed and tired. "High Counselor, thank you for responding. We have a serious situation here." "Report," Vexthor commanded. "Our main life support system failed 6 hours ago. The backup system is working, but barely. We have enough air and heat for maybe 18 more hours if nothing else goes wrong." "What caused the failure?" Commander Grixtal was quiet for a moment. "The chief engineer says it was a cascade failure in the atmospheric processing unit. The computer that controls the oxygen recycling system crashed and will not restart properly." "Who is your chief engineer?" "Marcus Webb. He is human. He has been working non-stop to fix the problem, but he says the system is very complex. The atmospheric processing software was written by human programmers, and the hardware was built to human specifications." Vexthor felt a cold feeling in his stomach. "What does he need to fix it?" "He says he needs technical support from the original manufacturers, but when he tries to contact them, the communication systems keep failing. He cannot get through to Earth or any of the human technical centers." "Keep working on it. The Council will send help if we can." After ending the call, Vexthor turned to Wisptar. "How many stations are in similar danger?" "At least 12 that we know of, but communications are so bad that we might not know about others until it is too late." Meanwhile, on the luxury cruise ship Star's Dream, panic was beginning to spread among the passengers. The ship carried 3,000 tourists from dozens of different species. They had been traveling between famous planets, enjoying the sights of the galaxy. Captain Zarthul was a proud member of the Rigelian Navy. He had never lost a passenger in 30 years of service, but today, his ship was having problems he had never seen before. The navigation system kept showing the wrong location. The entertainment systems had stopped working. The food replicators were producing meals that tasted wrong. Worst of all, the artificial gravity was becoming unstable, making some passengers sick. "Chief Engineer, report to the bridge immediately," Captain Zarthul announced over the ship's communication system. Chief Engineer Lisa Park arrived within minutes. She looked exhausted and frustrated. Her uniform was dirty from crawling through maintenance tunnels. "Captain, I have tried everything I can think of. The main computer system is having cascading failures. Every time I fix one problem, 2 more appear." "Can you get us to the nearest port?" Lisa shook her head. "The navigation system is unreliable. I am not sure we can trust it to guide us safely. And if the artificial gravity fails completely, we will have bigger problems than just getting to port." Captain Zarthul had served in the military long enough to recognize a crisis. "What do you need?" "I need the original technical manuals for this ship's computer system. I need to contact the shipyard where it was built. I need to speak with the programmers who wrote the navigation software." Lisa paused. "The problem is all of those resources are human-controlled and I cannot reach any of them." "Why not?" "The communication networks are having problems. My messages keep getting lost or delayed. When I do get through, the technical support centers say they are too busy with other emergencies to help right now. Back in the council chambers, more emergency reports were arriving every hour. The crystal delegate's body was flashing rapid patterns of light, a sign of extreme stress. The Kronak representative had lost most of his leaves and looked like a dying tree. "This cannot continue," the crystal delegate said, his voice ringing like broken glass. "My home system has lost contact with 3 colonies. We do not know if they are safe or if their life support systems have failed. My people are reporting food shortages," added the Kronak. "The agricultural automation systems are failing across our farming worlds. If this continues, we will face starvation within weeks." Vexthor had been receiving similar reports all day. Industrial planets where the factories had stopped working. Medical centers where the advanced equipment was shutting down. Space stations where the population was being evacuated because the life support systems were unreliable. "Where is the human ambassador?" he demanded. "Her ship is still in orbit around our station," Wisptar reported. "She has not tried to leave." "Bring her here, now. She says she will come whenever the council is ready to continue their discussion. She is waiting for our invitation." Vexthor made a sound like a growling animal. "Send the invitation. Tell her we need to talk immediately." An hour later, Ambassador Sarah Chen walked back into the council chambers. She looked exactly the same as when she had left. Her blue suit was neat and clean. Her smile was polite and friendly. She carried the same small bag and folder of papers. "Hi, Counselor," she said with a small bow. "Thank you for inviting us back. I hope you have had time to consider our alternative proposals." Vexthor stared down at her from his high seat. "Ambassador, are you aware of the technical problems that are happening across the galaxy?" Sarah looked concerned. "I have heard some reports, yes. It sounds like there are equipment failures on many worlds and stations. That must be very difficult for everyone involved. These problems started right after our last meeting. That seems like quite a coincidence." Sarah nodded thoughtfully. "It does seem like unfortunate timing, but technical problems do happen sometimes. I am sure your engineers are working hard to fix everything. Many of these systems were built or maintained by humans. Do you know anything about that?" "Well, yes," Sarah replied. "Human workers have been involved in many projects across the galaxy over the past 50 years. We are proud of the work our people have done to help build and maintain galactic infrastructure." Vexthor leaned forward in his seat. "And now all of those systems are failing at the same time." Sarah's expression became more serious. "High Counselor, if you are suggesting that humans are somehow responsible for these technical problems, I must respectfully disagree. Our people are professionals who take great pride in their work. They would never intentionally damage equipment or put lives at risk." "Then explain what is happening." Sarah was quiet for a moment, as if thinking carefully about her words. "Well, I can only speak from what our people have told me. Many human workers have been contacted by their supervisors about these technical problems. They are trying very hard to fix everything, but they are having difficulties." "What kind of difficulties?" "Several things," Sarah said, consulting her tablet. "First, many of the systems that are failing are very complex. They require specialized knowledge to repair properly. Second, the technical documentation and support resources are often located on Earth or other human facilities, which are currently experiencing communication problems." She paused and looked up at the council. "Third, and perhaps most importantly, many human workers are feeling very uncertain about their future in the galaxy right now. They are worried about the council's new terms. Some are concerned that they might be forced to leave their jobs and return to Earth." The hall became very quiet. Several alien delegates were looking at each other with worried expressions. Sarah continued in the same polite tone. "When people are worried about their future, it can be difficult for them to focus completely on their work. They might be more cautious about making major repairs without proper authorization. They might hesitate to use expensive resources if they are not sure they will still have their jobs next week." Vexthor's yellow eyes were burning brighter. "Are you saying that human workers are deliberately working slowly?" "Oh, no," Sarah said quickly. They are working as hard as they can, but fear and uncertainty can affect anyone's performance. It is only natural. She opened her folder and pulled out a new sheet of paper. In fact, this situation has helped us understand just how much our people care about their work in the galaxy. They are deeply concerned about leaving their projects unfinished. They want to make sure that if they do have to leave, they can transfer their knowledge to other qualified technicians. Other technicians? Sarah nodded. Yes, although I should mention that finding qualified replacements might take some time. Many of these systems require very specialized training. It could take months or even years to... The council chamber was silent for a long moment after Ambassador Chen finished speaking. High Counselor Vexthor stared down at the small human woman who had just politely explained how his entire civilization was falling apart. Around the great hall, alien delegates whispered urgently to each other. The crystal being's lights flashed in rapid, worried patterns. The Kronak representatives' remaining leaves were turning brown with stress. Emergency alerts continued to appear on screens throughout the chamber. Vexthor stood up slowly, his full height casting a shadow over the human delegation. Ambassador Chen, he said, his voice carefully controlled. Let me make sure I understand the situation correctly. Sarah nodded politely. Of course, High Counselor. You are telling me that human workers across the galaxy are having difficulty doing their jobs because they are worried about their future. That is correct. And these difficulties are causing critical systems to fail on hundreds of worlds and stations. Unfortunately, yes. Vexthor's yellow eyes narrowed. And the only way to fix these problems is to make humans feel more secure about their place in the galaxy. Sarah tilted her head slightly, as if considering the question carefully. Well, High Counselor, there might be other solutions. The Council could certainly hire non-human technicians to replace human workers. Many species have excellent engineers and programmers. She paused and consulted her tablet. Of course, it would take time to train them on all the human-designed systems. And there would be some challenges with compatibility. Human technology uses certain mathematical principles and design philosophies that might seem unusual to other species. The floating jellyfish delegate drifted closer. What kind of challenges? Nothing impossible to overcome, Sarah said with an encouraging smile. For example, human computers use a binary system based on powers of 2. Our quantum relay networks are synchronized using human time measurements. Our medical equipment is calibrated for the specific biological signatures that human doctors understand best. She turned to a new page in her folder. We estimate that with proper funding and dedication, other species could probably learn to maintain these systems within 5 to 10 years. 5 to 10 years? The crystal delegate's voice cracked like breaking glass. Possibly sooner with intensive training programs, Sarah said helpfully. Although there might be some trial and error involved as new technicians learn how everything works. Vexthor felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Not the fear of an enemy attack or a natural disaster, but the fear of complete helplessness. The humans had not conquered the galaxy through force. They had made themselves so useful that removing them would cause everything to collapse. What? He asked slowly. Would it take for human workers to feel secure enough to focus properly on their duties? Sarah's smile became a little brighter. That is very thoughtful of you to ask, High Counselor. Our people have always appreciated the Council's concern for their well-being. She opened her folder to the first page. Based on the messages we have received from human communities across the galaxy, I think there are 3 main things that would help our workers feel more confident. Speak. First, they would like assurance that they can continue living and working where they are now. Many humans have built homes on colony worlds or space stations. They have friends and colleagues from many different species. They do not want to be forced to leave these communities. Several alien delegates nodded. This seemed reasonable. Second, they would like to continue contributing to galactic society as equals. Human workers are proud of the projects they have completed and the problems they have solved. They want to keep sharing their knowledge and learning from other species. More nods around the chamber. This also seemed fair. Third, Sarah said, they would like to know that their species will be treated with the same respect given to other Members of the galactic community. Humans understand that we are newcomers, but we hope to be judged by our actions and contributions rather than just our age as a spacefaring species. The hall was quiet again. These requests were not unreasonable. In fact, they were exactly what most species received when they joined the galactic community. The Council's original terms had been unusually harsh. Vexthor looked around at the other Council members. He could see the same realization in their eyes. They had overplayed their hand, and now they were facing the consequences. If the Council were to reconsider the original terms, he said carefully, how quickly could these technical problems be resolved? Sarah looked genuinely pleased by the question. Oh, I think our people would be very motivated to fix everything as quickly as possible. No one wants to see beings suffer because of equipment failures. She pulled out her communication device. I could send a message to human communities right now, letting them know that the Council is reconsidering humanity's status. I think that news alone would help our workers feel much more confident about making long-term repairs. And how long would repairs take? Well, that depends on how extensive the damage is, Sarah said. But human workers are very efficient when they feel supported and valued. I would estimate that most critical systems could be restored within 24 hours. Non-essential systems might take a few days longer. The crystal delegate's lights were flashing in a pattern that meant urgent agreement. High Counselor, we need those systems working immediately. 3 of my homeworlds are operating on backup power. The Kronak representative rustled his few remaining leaves. My people are facing food shortages. The agricultural systems must be repaired quickly. More voices joined in from around the chamber. Every species was reporting critical problems that needed immediate attention. The galaxy had grown so dependent on human-maintained systems that it could not function without them. Vexthor made his decision. Ambassador Chen, the Council is prepared to withdraw the original terms and negotiate new ones based on your alternative proposal. Sarah's smile became radiant. That is wonderful news, High Counselor. I am sure this will make human workers very happy. But, Vexthor continued, we need repairs to begin immediately. Lives are at stake. Of course, Sarah said, already typing on her communication device. I am sending the message now. She typed quickly for several seconds, then looked up. Done. I have informed all human communities that the Council is reconsidering humanity's status and that we are moving toward a more cooperative relationship. Within minutes, responses began coming back. Sarah's device chimed repeatedly as messages arrived from across the galaxy. The initial responses are very positive, she reported. Human workers are expressing relief and gratitude. Many are saying they feel much more optimistic about their ability to complete repairs. She looked up at the Council with that same polite smile she had worn throughout the entire crisis. I think we should see improvements in system performance within the next few hours. And indeed they did. Reports began trickling in almost immediately. On mining station Omega-7, the life support systems suddenly began functioning normally. Chief Engineer Marcus Webb sent a brief message. Atmospheric processing unit is responding properly now. All systems stable. The communication network started working more efficiently. Cargo ships reported that their navigation problems had mysteriously resolved. Medical equipment began providing accurate readings again. Over the next 6 hours, as the Council watched in amazement, the galaxy's infrastructure simply started working again. It was as if thousands of human technicians had simultaneously figured out solutions to problems that had baffled them for hours. By the end of the Yao, day trade was flowing normally, communications were clear, life support systems were stable. The crisis was over as quickly as it had begun. 3 days later, the Council voted unanimously to accept humanity as a full-member species with equal rights and representation. The vote was not really a choice. Everyone understood that humanity had become too important to the galaxy's functioning to be treated as anything less than equals. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the podium in the Great Hall, delivering humanity's acceptance speech. She thanked the Council for their wisdom and expressed hope for continued cooperation between all species. We look forward to many years of working together, she said in closing. Humans have always believed that we are stronger when we help each other. As she left the podium, High Counselor Vexthor approached her privately. "Ambassador," he said quietly, "may I ask you something?" "Of course, High Counselor." "Did your people really have technical problems, or was this all planned?" Sarah looked at him with that same polite smile. "High Counselor, human workers truly were having difficulties with their equipment. When people are worried and uncertain, it does affect their ability to do their best work." She paused. "Of course, when people feel valued and secure, they often discover that problems which seemed very complicated become much easier to solve." Vexthor stared at her for a long moment. Then, despite himself, he began to make the sound that was Ephirian laughter. "Ambassador Chen," he said, "I believe the galaxy has learned something important about human nature." "What is that, High Counselor?" "That there is more than one way to conquer a galaxy, and that sometimes the most effective weapons are kindness, competence, and patience."